Hello friends, welcome back to our EPFO revamped ECR 3 FAQ series. As you might know, EPFO has recently launched its re-engineered electronic challan cum return system known as ECR 3. This brings a bunch of new features that make compliance easier for employers, but it has also created some confusions along the way. I made a detailed tutorial video on this ECR3 earlier where I explained every feature step by step. Do check that out if you haven't already. It will really help build your foundation. Now, coming to the present, EPFO has officially released a Q&A document addressing common doubts and questions. This series is based on that very Q&A. We'll read each question one by one, do a deep analysis, understand what it really means, and where necessary, discuss the pros, cons, and warnings to give you complete clarity. I've divided this series into 3 parts for easy following. In this first part, we'll cover the first 10 questions, starting from the basics like what this system is, its key features, applicability, and payment rules. I'm super excited to break this down for you because getting this right can save you from penalties and headache. Let's get started. Question 1. What is the revamped ECR, re-engineered ECR? The answer from EPFO's document is the revamped ECR, also called re-engineered ECR, is a redesigned version of EPFO's electronic challan cum return system applicable from the wage month of September 2025. In simple words, this is an upgrade to the old ECR. Now, return filing and payments are separate steps. Validations are stricter and errors are caught early. It's essentially a user-friendly tool for employers to automate compliance. To add more context, this revamp aims to make the process more transparent and efficient as per EPFO's guidelines, reducing manual interventions that often led to mistakes in the past. Pros: this system reduces previous mistakes like duplicate payments or wrong calculations, leading to smoother operations and faster processing of employee benefits. From what I have seen in recent updates, it streamlines filings, potentially cutting down compliance time by up to 30% for large employers. Cons: there's a bit of a learning curve at the start, especially if you're comfortable with the old system, which might require some training for your HR team. Warning: if you try using the old method after September 2025, your submissions could get rejected outright. So make sure to familiarize yourself with the new workflow on the EPFO portal beforehand to avoid any last-minute rushes. Question 2. What are the key features of revamped ECR? Answer. Its key features include A. Segregation of return filing and payment generation. That is to say, submit the return first, then generate challan and make payment. B. System-based validations to prevent incorrect ECR submissions. For example, incorrect wages, UAN, ineligible pension contributions, etc. C. Automatic calculation of interest under Section 7, Q, and damages under Section 14B. And incorporation into the ECR payment process when applicable. D. Provision for revised return under specified conditions to correct earlier submissions. E. The format of the ECR file .txt layout remains unchanged. These features are a big improvement over the old system because you can fix errors before making payments, making the whole process more reliable. Drawing from EPFO's intent, this setup ensures better data integrity and quicker settlements for employees' provident funds. Pros: it's time-saving with accurate auto-calculations. And as per expert views, it minimizes downstream corrections, helping employers avoid audits. Cons: the multiple steps might add a little extra time initially, especially for small businesses not used to segmented workflows. Warning: interest and damages are auto-calculated, so late filings will ramp up penalties quickly. Always aim to submit on time to keep your finances in check. Question 3. From which wage month is the new system applicable? Answer: the revamped ECR system will apply for returns from wage month September 2025 onwards. However, if an employer has not submitted ECRs for any earlier wage months prior to September 2025, such pending ECRs are also required to be filed through the revamped ECR system. This is clear? It's mandatory for new wage months. To elaborate, this rollout is part of EPFO's push for digital efficiency, ensuring all backlogs are cleared under the new rules to maintain consistency. Pros: following one unified system makes things easier in the long run, reducing confusion between old and new formats. Cons: you'll have to refile any old pending returns, which could create a temporary backlog if you have many. Warning: don't miss the September 2025 deadline, or you could face heavy penalties under EPF Act sections. Plan ahead to migrate smoothly. Question 4. Can multiple chalans be generated, or can multiple payments be made? Answer: yes. The revamped ECR system allows generation of multiple challans. However, the employers are advised to ensure accuracy in order to avoid duplication of payments for the same employee. If there are multiple segments for one employee, like different contributions, you can create separate challans. This flexibility is great for complex payrolls, but accuracy is key. Pros: offers flexibility for handling varied contributions, which is especially useful for large organizations with diverse employee structures. Cons: if duplicates happen by mistake, reconciliation becomes tough and time consuming. Warning: track every payment using the TRRN, temporary return reference number. Otherwise, the refund process can be lengthy and frustrating. Always double check before confirming. Question 5. What are the types of returns under the new system? Answer: under the revamped ECR, there are 3 types of returns similar to earlier practice but with more rules. Regular return for the standard monthly submission of all active members. Supplementary return to include employees who were missed in the regular return. Revised return for correcting data wages, contributions from an earlier regular or supplementary return subject to conditions. Note restrictions. A downward revision is allowed only if the payment against UAN for that wage month has not yet been made. B. An upward revision, that is to say paying more, is allowed even after payment in many cases. C. Once a return is approved in the system, it cannot be cancelled. Corrections must be through revised return. These are similar to the old ones but with stricter rules to ensure accuracy. This setup helps in covering gaps without major overhauls. Pros: provides options to cover missed cases, making compliance more forgiving for honest errors. Cons: the restrictions reduce flexibility, so you can't make changes as freely as before. Warning: downward revisions are only possible before payment. Otherwise, it's rejected. Always review data thoroughly before approval to avoid logged-in mistakes. Question 6. Whether international workers are permitted to contribute under EPS 1995 post 2014 inches, the revamped ECR. Answer: such international workers who have become member after September 2014 and whose wage is more than 15,000 per month are not a member under EPS 1995. Hence, such members are not permitted to contribute after 1st September 2014. However, such members whose date of joining was pre-September 2014 and whose wage was more than the prevalent statutory ceiling limit continue to remain member under EPS 1995 and are required to contribute on full salary. Pros: clear rules for international talent, aligning with global mobility needs while protecting fund integrity. Cons: verification can be tricky, requiring extra documentation for cross-border employees. Warning: Keep date of joining and wage proofs ready, or the system will flag as ineligible. This could delay benefits and attract scrutiny. Question 7. How does the workflow change return payment in the revamped ECR? Answer. The revised workflow is more structured. A. Employer uploads the ECR file.txt format in the employer portal. B. System validates data. Errors are flagged. Employer must correct and re-upload. C. After validation, employer approves the return. At approval, a due deposit balance summary is generated. Shows the amounts due, contributions, interest, damages, admin divided by inspection charges. D. Employer then generates a challan with a TRRN, temporary return reference number. E. Employer makes the payment, net banking, etc. using the TRRN. F. After payment, employer can download the receipt challan copy from the portal receipt status view via TRRN query section. Thus, the separation of return filing and payment generation ensures better checks and reduces errors. Now, payment only after return approval. This prevents rushed errors. Pros: catches errors upfront, leading to fewer disputes. Cons: the extra validation step adds a layer, potentially slowing initial filings. Warning: no challan without approval. Don't delay or you'll miss deadlines. Question 8. What validation checks has the new system introduced? Answer. The revamped ECR has more built-in checks to reduce downstream corrections and disputes, including but not limited to: A. Flagging ineligible EPS contributions. For example, employees whose wages exceed 15,000 per month and who joined after 1 September 2014. B. Restricting pension contributions beyond age 5. 8. Unless employer flags for deferred pension. C. Validating UAN member details, wage entries, contribution, etc. and rejecting invalid rows before approval. D. Preventing duplicate or erroneous entries or mismatch in active exited member status. E. Contribution is calculated at the rate of either statutory or higher rate only, but not below the statutory rate. Pros: reduces errors downstream, saving time on corrections. Cons: more initial rejections for new users. Warning: don't ignore flags on age, wages, or filings will fail. Update data accurately. Question 9. What does the error message UAN not linked to your establishment or DOJ missing DOE not updated mean? Answer. The revamped ECR permits remittance of contributions only for the period falling between the valid date of joining and date of leaving, if any, of an employee. If a date of leaving has already been entered in the system, whether inadvertently or otherwise, the payment of contributions for any period subsequent to the recorded date of leaving can be made only after correction of the exit date through a joint declaration submitted by the employer and employee. System allows only active periods. Pros: prevents invalid payments, protecting funds. Cons: requires updating old data. Warning: update DOE first or contributions will bounce. Use joint declarations promptly. Question 10. What happens if an employer delays payment? Answer. Under the new ECR system. A. Interest under Section 7(q) becomes automatically applicable for delay in payment and is computed by the system. B. Damages penalties under Section 14(b) may also be applied for defaults. C. However, the employer shall have the option to deposit damages either forthwith or at a later stage. D. The new system ensures that these charges are reflected in the due deposit balance summary when generating the challan. Hence, timely submission and payment are critical to avoid additional liabilities. Pros: auto calculation ensures fairness. Cons: penalties can compound quickly. Warning: delays increase liabilities. File pre-deadline always. So friends, that was our first part where we covered the basics of ECR3 and the first 10 FAQs. I hope this was helpful and cleared some doubts. In the next part, we'll discuss questions 11 to 20 like age limits, revisions and arrears. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and comment which question was your favorite. See you in the next video. Until then, stay compliant.